Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video by yours truly. We have Mifu in the spotlight for today's Arknights Endfield content. And who else is pulling on Mifu? Me, foo. In this video, I strive to give you guys some invaluable and insightful information with regards to Mifu's best teams, builds, rotations, quirks, tricks of the trade, you name it, I supply it. That's pretty much the name of the game, boys and girls. I don't want to yap your ears off more than I already need to because there's a lot of yapping in the video, but it's very informative. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Firstly, let's talk about Mifu's kit as a whole. For a quick TLDR, she's all about her battle skill in terms of dealing damage. Her combo skill is utilized to apply a physical susceptibility. After you apply that, then you can get into doing all her damage. Her ultimate, the primary use for it, is applying a lift for a vulnerability stack, and then taking her straight into the stage 2 of her battle skill, which is Trail and Mangle. Now, with that understood, she also does not crit at all, or at least you'd have to get insanely lucky. She has a 5% crit chance. So if you hit a crit, you really did get lucky. But her specialization is going to be Crush and physical susceptibility. So this is the type of character where all her damage is going to come from proccing Crush and then applying as much physical susceptibility that you can with not only her, but also her team that you're building around her. This will enable the Crush damage to deal a ton of damage while also enabling other physical DPS on the team to pop off with their physical skills as well. Now, it is worth mentioning that Crush cannot crit, of course, so you want to focus on multipliers that are going to amplify that Crush damage. Physical damage increase is one of them, physical susceptibility, as well as physical damage taken. I believe Rossi has one that's not physical susceptibility. It just states that you will receive an increase in physical damage taken when she activates her Razor Claw mark. And then you've got raw attack as well as arts intensity. Now I want to briefly talk to you guys about the fundamentals and intricacies of her kit so that you can understand that. Starting off with the battle skill. So it's got move 1, which is Cloud Trapper. It's got move 2, Trail and Mangle, and then finally move 3, World Splitter, which has a condition for you to even get to move 3. You can't cast move 3 unless move 2 consumes at least 3 or more vulnerable stacks on the target. There's not 3 or more stacks on the target when move 2 is casted, you will not be able to get to move 3. But it's actually very easy to activate all these conditions. All you got to do is just make sure hella vulnerable stacks are put on the enemy's head, and she will always cast her World Splitter. That said, what's the value of them? So the first one is a Cloud Trapper. It's this move right here, which is a grappling hook. Now, they tell you that it's supposed to be used for AoE situations, but I tried it in some of these AoE modes, and this first move is kind of booty cheeks with its AoE. If you'll notice when I cast it again, the hitbox is actually quite tiny. If it was a much wider hitbox, then it would have felt a lot more like an AoE situation, like a Gilberta Swirl or a Tong Tong Tornado. It's like those two together, it's like AoE galore. And so for this first move, although it can grab a couple of people, I think it's more valuable on the second option. It can also bring Mifu to the target, but they have to be an elite or bigger mob, right? If they're a bigger mob, then she'll use this and go to the target, which kind of closes the distance. So there's a bit of value there, but ultimately, all the bread and butter is going to be the second and third move, the Trail and Mangle and the World Splitter. Now, the second move, which is going to be Trail and Mangle, is going to be this one right here. It's a nice little 3-piece KFC chicken nugget, and it will apply Crush, and it also allows you to evolve into the World Splitter, once again, if 3 or higher vulnerable stacks are on the target. That's the move you kind of want to focus on the most because it's the move that allows her to pop off. But when do you actually want to cast that move to? Ideally, only after your team has already had 3 or more vulnerable stacks put onto the target, because otherwise you're kind of just burning through SP. Now, there is one little quirk that's cool about it, and that is if there's no stacks on the target at all and you cast move 2, it will give 1 vulnerability stack on them. So that kind of like is one of those very niche scenarios where your team that you're utilizing isn't the best at applying vulnerable stacks, and so you have to open up with Mifu's basic Trail and Mangle cast just to put a vulnerability stack on their head. Every stack counts type of word deal. You're starving for stacks. Anyways, then we have the final move, which is World Splitter. It's also the coolest move in her kit. It's when she freaking charges that punch back like One Punch Man, and then like this is the move that you want to always finish off with. After you've applied 4 vulnerability stacks, you apply Crush with move 2, and then you open up with World Splitter. Hopefully all the debuffs and buffs have been applied at this point, because that's where the damage is going to occur. Now, moving on to her combo trigger, it's very easy. Just make sure there's 3 vulnerable stacks on their head, and then her combo trigger will pop up. It does 2 different things. One, it applies physical susceptibility. So ideally, you don't want to cast her ult or any of her crazy moves until after this combo trigger, just to have that physical susceptibility buff on their head. And if you have Art's Intensity, it can also increase the potency or efficacy of that physical susceptibility debuff too. But then it also allows you to skip Cloud Trapper and go straight to stage 2 of her battle skill, which is Trail and Mangle. This is really valuable because it saves SP. If you don't skip the Cloud Trapper, then you have to spend 50 SP just to get to move 2 and move 3. And in totality, that'll cost you 150 skill points, right? And so casting that combo trigger skill allows you to skip that first stage and go straight to move 2 and move 3, where all the damage is occurring anyways. Finally, we have her ultimate. Her ultimate does 2 things as well. Very simple. First, it does a little bit of damage, but because it doesn't crit, then the damage is but it applies Lift, which is a vulnerable stack, and Lift can also deal damage with Art's Intensity and all the physical increased multipliers that you have. And then it also allows you to skip straight to Trail and Mangle. And so as you can see, both her ultimate and her combo don't want you casting Cloud Trapper, because Cloud Trapper is pretty much useless most of the time, if I'm being honest. You want to go straight into Trail and Mangle and World Splitter, and make sure that 3 or more vulnerable stacks are on their head so that you can do a bunch of crush damage. That's pretty much her kit in a nutshell. Her passives just kind of go into that same concept, right? World Splitter, if you hit a target with physical susceptibility, you get a free 1.2 damage multiplier, 20% increase in your damage for World Splitter, which hits like a truck. And then Vigilant is just kind of helping you in terms of being tanky. It's going to give you a nice little beefy shield. Other than that, though, that's pretty much her in a nutshell. Now, I do want to talk to you guys real briefly about her basic attack sequence. She's one of those characters where her basic attack sequence, for me personally, it's okay. It's nothing crazy. It's also kind of long-winded. It's probably more so along the same length to cast as most characters in the game, which can be a good thing, because what that means is if you like somebody like Rossi's combo attack sequence, then you can use that instead because it's more aesthetically pleasing, right? Whoever you like, be it Rossi, be it Pog, or Mifu, you do not have to pilot Mifu as a basic attack caster. You really don't. You can use her as a secondary character if you want. I'm going to be piloting her because she's the star of the show right now, but for the most part, all the gauntlet casting moves are going to occur with her ult, with her battle skill, and with her combo trigger. In terms of basic attack sequence, doesn't really matter who you're using, if I'm being honest. Now, she does scale off of strength and will. In her set, they do have a set that is completely dedicated to making her an absolute boss, and it has all the right substats and everything. Now, what I am doing is I'm running 3 pieces of the set from the hand and the 2 kit pieces, right? And like I said, these are all attached to the same set. And then for the chest piece, I am going for a little bit more physical damage bonus because it depends on the scenario in Arknights Endfield. If you're going up against a boss where you're just trying to burst them down, you can just go for more physical damage bonus because you're not going to ult a second time with her. Even though her ult's very cheap, they'll just be nuked to hell because of how much damage the team is doing. But there is a scenario where the fights are a bit more long-winded, and so you probably want to go for that extra 16% ultimate gain efficiency. It'll start to show its value the longer the fight goes on. And so for that, I would recommend the Swordmancer light armor. You got strength and will with ultimate gain efficiency. You'll be able to craft that bad boy for that, and then the other 3 pieces will just be her dedicated main set. Now, for her weapon options, of course, we do have the signature weapon, and I do think it's an absolute monstrosity. It gives good strength. It gives a whopping amount of attack percent. It gives physical damage dealt for free, 25.6%. And then when the wielder applies physical susceptibility, that's with her combo. So as soon as you pop that combo skill, boom, she gets Art's Intensity. Now, I want to remind you guys again that Art's Intensity is very valuable because Art's Intensity increases the efficacy of physical statuses. It also increases the efficacy of Crush, right? It also affects Lift and Knockdown as well as their stagger damage. So this bad boy is very, very important. In fact, if there's a character that comes out down the line that gives Art's Intensity boost, you're probably more than likely going to replace Akekuri with that character on these teams because they're going to be giving her a lot of damage increase with that Art's Intensity boost. But going back to the signature weapon, you also get a physical damage boost based on the number of vulnerability stacks, very similar to the other set. And so that's pretty much her in a nutshell. But the alternatives, I have good news. I come bearing good news. You actually don't need her signature weapon. You don't. There's a standard weapon that, according to theoretical and practical calculations, this standard weapon is actually getting up to 90% of this weapon's performance at R1. And it's this weapon right here called the Exemplar. And the reason being is because it's just very easy. The conditions are easy to fulfill. You got main attribute, right? So strength's good. You got attack percent, so that's good. You get the free physical damage bonus dealt. it's just free 99. And then the second part, you just got to cast her battle skill or her ultimate, which you'll do one or the other, and you get another 20% damage dealt. And so this is a very good free to play option. You also have the battle pass option. Now, apparently the battle pass option at R5 is still underperforming the standard signature weapon. But this is where I kind of like, I'm not going to say the freaking theory crafters are wrong. I won't go that far, but I will say I think they might be undervaluing this art intensity a bit much, because the battle pass weapon has art's intensity as a secondary scaling. This has attack percent, and this one has attack percent. This one has art's intensity. And so at R5, if you're calculating things accordingly in terms of rotations, I can see that art's intensity buffing the crush damage, which is all of her damage. And it can do some serious damage, as well as lift, you know, as well as stagger. I feel like these are variables that can't be calculated. And so I think the battle pass weapon is also a fantastic option. Both, by the way, completely free to play if you don't want to go for her sig. That said, I am definitely going for her sig. That sig looks great. It matches the drip. I'm huge on matching drip. And I think the sig has just got a good, well-rounded amount of multipliers contained all in there. It's got everything. Now I want to talk to you guys about my best teams that I utilize that I recommend trying out. We've got team number 1. Lifeng and Chen are going to be your vulnerability stackers. And then you've got Pog giving SP back to the team with his ultimate and his combo skill casting. And then we've got our Crush DPS dealer in the front. Very solid team. I'll be showcasing it. Next team, you're going to swap out those two for Rossi and Akekuri. Akekuri is going to put fire on the enemy's head. She's going to consume that fire, put 2 vulnerable stacks, and then a 3rd vulnerable stack with her battle skill. You are then going to cast her ult for the 4th vulnerable stack, and then you're going to apply Crush while Pog is doing the same thing that Pog always does. Really like this team. And then we've got a 3rd variation where you swap out Pog for Lifeng, and there's just easier vulnerability application, and these two just burst the, oh man, they burst the hell out of these mobs down. And so I really like that team too. Finally, we've got our free-to-play friendly team. You've got Chen, Alesh, and Estella. Solidification and Crush. You've got Alesh and Estella popping off with the solidification, while Estella's applying a lot of 2 vulnerability stacks, 3 vulnerability stacks, and then her ult can apply that 4th vulnerability stack. So very fun teams. Now I want to get into the showcases so that you guys can know how to play these teams effectively. All right, boys, now it's time to talk about the showcases, the 4 different teams and how they come together, how you enable that DPS to occur. Keep in mind, my guides are a bit more unorthodox because I like to pause and explain why things are happening the way they're happening. That way you're learning and not just watching like numbers and just fireworks happen on the screen. So this first team is going to be completely free to play. We've got Estella, Alesh, and Chen. All of them are literally free to play, except of course the limited character that you're going to be pulling on. So we like to open up with Alesh, right? Alesh's ult not only recovers SP, it also applies cryo infliction, to which he then will consume that cryo infliction stack with his own battle skill to create solidification, and that will enable the whole combo to proc. Right, so we pop ult straight into Alesh battle skill. Boom. That allows Estella to proc her combo skill, which is going to apply a vulnerable stack. Boom. So you'll see the vulnerable stack up there. And at the same time, you'll notice she applied physical susceptibility too. Bam. So the reason that works that way is because if you have solidification already on their head and she applies a vulnerable stack, it will also give physical susceptibility. But her ult will apply a 2nd vulnerability stack, which is really nice. And so from here, you've got Chen getting ready to follow with her combo. That's a 3rd vulnerability stack, right? Bam. So now we have the combo skill from Mifu, which we just casted, applying that final physical susceptibility. And that's why we are timing Shin's ult for maximized damage. Then you know what it is, guys. The name of the game is to always save your big damage dealing factors after you've applied all the debuffs. Boom, boom, right? So we do her ult for the final, and that's important. I want to show that one more time, right? So after Chen, we're still missing 1 more vulnerability stack to get 4 vulnerability stacks. The 1 more came from Mifu's ult, right here. Bam. So now you can see up there at the top right, we've got 4 vulnerability stacks. So now we can really do some damage. Now you'll notice right here, I think I cast Mifu's battle skill, but I only cast 1 time. There's still the world splitter where you cast the 2nd time. I did not cast that because this cutscene, I'll show it to you. Boom. Once he hits this cutscene, if you cast something or anything, it just cancels it out, all the damage and everything. So I saved it and I just ran straight up to him. Unfortunately, one of my physical susceptibility debuffs expired. That was a Stellus. So it is what it is. A little damage loss. And then I just boom. Good old Hadouken. 153k casually. And so now we're starting this all the way over. I do want to explain this. The second rotation on this team in this particular moment, because this team's vulnerability stacking capabilities isn't as good as a Lifeng and a Rossi, they can stack 3 vulnerabilities per character on their own. It's insane. This team, it kind of struggles with it because once ults expire, Estella is not applying any lift or any of that jazz. So I actually opened up on the second rotation with Mifu's skill. Right, see, Mifu's skill and Chin's follow-up, 2 vulnerability stacks. And at this point, it's a bit of a grind, I'll admit, with the free-to-play team, because you have to get Alesh's ult back up, and you can only get it up by casting like battle skills and such, right? Look at this. Look how much they shafted me. Bro's ult is like 1 energy away from being up. So we had to cast 1 more skill to get his ult up. We had cast it right there. Now his ult's up. We can start the whole rotation all over again, right? Alesh ult into Alesh battle skill. Boom, into Shin follow-up. Or I'm sorry, Stella follow-up. Into her ult, into Shin combo skill. Yep, now the whole thing happens again. We're about to break this man's stagger bar. Boom, right? His stagger bar is broke. And from here, he just gets melted, man. I mean, just obliterated. Let's look at that one more time, right? Boom. Boom, man. I mean, just beautiful, right? So that's the free-to-play team. 1 minute and 8 seconds. Not bad. Not bad at all. Now, moving on to the next team. This is another free-to-play team. Granted, it's 2 6-star standard characters, Lifeng and Pog. Now, with this team, anytime Lifeng's on the team, you always want to open up with him first before anybody else, because Lifeng will only apply his physical susceptibility with his battle skill if no vulnerability is applied to the target. All right, so we go with him first. As you can see, boom, he applies that physical susceptibility as well as 1 vulnerable stack. And now he pops his ult for the remaining 2 vulnerable stacks. And now we go into Pog ult. Chin follows up. We've already got 3 stacks on his head, right? 1 stack came from Lifeng's battle skill. The 2nd stack came from Lifeng's ult. The 3rd stack came from Chin. And now Lifeng's ult expires and applies another stack. So that's 4 stacks without doing anything else. So we combo skill with Mifu. We go into Chin's ult. And the reason we go into Chin's ult every single time right there is because we wait to apply all the debuffs, right? Both debuffs were applied by Mifu and Lifeng. Now we can ult with Chin. And then it's just crazy damage. I want to watch that one more time because that's just beautiful, man. All right, so one more time. Combo skill from Mifu. Chin ult, right? Into battle skill from Mifu. While she's cocking back her battle skill for the world splitter damage, Pog's ult finishes. It's just like boom, boom, man. I love it. I love it. It's so cool. All right, so now we skip to the freaking middle, and what's cool about this is we can go straight into her ult because we stacked all 4 stacks without even casting her ult. We can now cast her ult right here, right? So we're gonna open up with Lifeng again before we do anything because he's gonna apply a free physical susceptibility, right? So he goes first. Boom, he applies his physical susceptibility as well as 1 vulnerable stack. Now we can pop our ult, right? Now we pop our ult to apply the 2nd vulnerability. Chin follows up for the 3rd vulnerability. Combo skill from Mifu to apply the 2nd physical susceptibility debuff. Yep, you see how it's working now? And now from this point, we apply 1 more, which we can do with anybody. And now we go into the, bam, the world splitter, right? The damage comes up. Everybody's ults are getting ready to come up now, right? So now there's Lifeng's ult, and now there's Pog's ult, and now there's Chin's ult, right? Everybody's ults all come back up again. I actually played this just a little bit like slow. You can get sub 1 minute with this. I've done it before. But unfortunately, I didn't record that showcase. But it's the same rotations all over again. Bro gets obliterated. He gets overkilled. Actually, I didn't even get a chance to land that last world splitter there. Now, this team is going to be with Rossi and Akekuri. This team is a monstrous team, especially with Lifeng. We'll show that after this showcase. But you do have to make sure you're playing Rossi and Akekuri rotation-wise correctly. And I'm going to explain that to you. So we always run behind them because why not? So in this team, the first thing you want to do is actually ult with Mifu first. You ult with her first because this team does need that first vulnerability to be applied because you don't have Lifeng. So we'll apply the first vulnerability, right? And then we'll go straight into her to ult. She gives a damage bonus to the whole team with her set she's rocking, and she recovers SP with this ult while also giving a link bonus. She does a lot, actually. Yeah, so we apply those two. Now, the most important thing to do from here is to apply Fire Infliction with Akekuri's battle skill. And then you have to go straight into Rossi's battle skill to apply the mark. The mark gives a double debuff, both physical and fire. Fire and physical debuff is applied by the mark applied by Rossi's battle skill. But you should only do it after a Fire Infliction stack has already been inflicted. Otherwise, you won't apply it. So it's important that you do that. Akekuri battle skill into Rossi battle skill. Then Rossi combo skill to absorb the Fire Infliction and create 2 vulnerable stacks. In short, you will create 3 vulnerable stacks with Rossi in doing this rotation. Right? So Fire Infliction stack applied up top. Rossi does her skill. You see those wolves coming in? That means you did it correctly. If the wolves come in and apply the mark, right? Now you can see the mark right there, right? That little purple mark. That little purple mark that's on him. That means you did it correctly. After that, you go into Rossi's combo skill, and now you just have to time it. And that's a skill issue if you don't time it correctly. From there on, now we're able to, you'll see it, go into Mifu's combo skill. Boom, there you go. And so at this point, Pog's ult, every debuff imaginable is on the guy. And so we can go into the world splitter. He's just getting obliterated. Now you'll notice we saved our ult for Rossi once again, because of the cutscene. The cutscene can shaft you if you're not fast enough. And so I just saved her ult. I'm going to walk straight up to him and then pop her ultimate to make sure we didn't butcher it. And don't worry, her claw is still up here. You can see the claw debuff is still up here. The physical debuff is still up here, but that's fire damage. Now, one thing I love about Rossi's ult is that once it's done, you get a free Fire Infliction stack, which means you could go straight into Rossi's whole combo without the need to cast Akekuri's battle skill because Rossi applied a Fire Infliction stack herself. So that's a cool thing about the second rotation. I think I got a little grief here, but it's all good. So we time it. Boom. Yep, there we go. Everything's looking nice. Combo skill, Akekuri cast. And then finally, bro just gets overkilled again right here. I think I made a little slight misplay in there, but for the most part, that's how it works. That's a 56-second clear time right there. You can play that team a bit better and probably get like close to a 50-second clear time. But here we go. We swap out Pog for my goat Lifeng. Now, Pog's my goat. Pog's my goat, not Lifeng. But Lifeng, he applies a physical debuff. Mifu applies a physical debuff. Rossi applies a physical debuff. So now we're in the realm of hyper burst damage, right? And once you apply all those freaking debuffs, you pop Rossi's ult, you pop Mifu's battle skill, and you just watch this guy's HP bar get obliterated. So I'm gonna go ahead. I already explained to you guys how it works. I'm just gonna let the fireworks show, right? We start off with Lifeng battle skill, right? Boom. You have to apply the physical debuff. Yep. Then we go into everybody's combo skills. We time it perfectly to absorb the Fire Infliction, creating all those stacks. You'll notice we got 4 vulnerability stacks up there. So now we can go into everything. We can start going crazy, right? But it's important that you understand we're holding Lifeng's ult, we're holding Mifu's ult, because those are free vulnerability stacks for the second rotation. There's no point in using them because we got 4 stacks effortlessly due to Lifeng and Rossi just freaking being vulnerability stack gods. All right, so from this point, we're going to go burst galore on them, right? Okay, I have to rewind that back. I did it so fast, you probably missed it, okay? So I have 4 vulnerability stacks. I pop Mifu's skill, battle skill, to consume with her second move of her battle skill. Remember, it's Crush, and it will consume all vulnerable stacks. I pop it and then immediately ult with Lifeng because it consumes the vulnerability stacks, resetting it back to 0, which means now I can start creating new vulnerability stacks for that second rotation. I did it very fast. Right here, look. Boom, and then I ult. As soon as she punched him, I ult, right? And so now we're already creating that second wave while also there's so much damage happening. Hold on, bro. We did all that way too fast. We pop his ult, boom. And at this point, I'm already ready to use everybody's burst windows because we have 3, and I'm going to show it to you. We have physical debuff, and you can see what's his name's debuff's getting ready to expire. Lifeng's. That's why you gotta be very, very fast. I wasn't fast enough. I gotta be even faster. Lifeng's debuff's about to expire. Mifu's debuffs looks good. And then we have the claw mark, right? Triple physical debuff. And so that's where all this damage comes from, right? At the same time, I'm doing a charged up Hadoken, a charged up Shoryuken with Mifu inside of the ult of Rossi. It's just cinema, bro. Bam, bro. I mean, listen, I'm going to pause this so you can see all this damage. Look at all this damage. Look at all this damage. Hold up. So that's 195,000 from the punch. 133K, right? But check this out. Then 152, then 195, and then there's a crit behind that for 65K. Just insane. Look at the guy's health before he even goes into the second phase. And this is all like, they're not duped out, guys. This is like, they're all using their sick weapon at R1, Refinement 1, and they have no copies on them. They're just, this team's insane, bro. Look at his health. And he already has 2 vulnerability stacks because I popped Lifeng's ult the minute all 4 vulnerability stacks got consumed. That's what I was trying to explain to y'all. We already preemptively set up the second rotation before bro could blink. And so guess what? We still got Mifu's ult. That's going to be the 3rd vulnerability stack. And from there, it's cake. Getting that final vulnerability stack, you can get it anywhere. He's already got a fire infliction on him, so Rossi can already absorb it and create 2 more vulnerability stacks. Right? Yep, so we refreshed the flame mark. We time it perfectly. And dude, it's just, oh, I misplayed so hard. Look, 2 times I got hit. I misplayed so hard. And still, look at the timer, bro. Look at the timer. This guy got, he got his clock cleaned. In fact, if I didn't misplay, she got hit mid-combo strike. She didn't even get to apply her physical debuff. So if I would have hit the physical debuff, then he would have been dead already. Missed out on a little bit of damage. 49-second clear. Yeah, this team is a monstrous team. And it's because Rossi is such a bursty character, and so is Mifu. And so when you have Lifeng in that final slot, giving them more damage amplification as well as stacking all that vulnerability, then it makes them to do more of what they're already good at doing, which is bursting down the enemy. Real quick, just running through the builds of the characters, guys. Rossi's got her signature weapon that she's rocking, as well as the signature set for her, which is going to be the MI security set. I think you guys have already known. If you do not, go watch my Rossi guide. I got a Rossi guide up that explains everything about her. You got Akekuri, who's going to be on the Frontier set. Really fantastic set for her, buffs the entire party. She is using the Thermite Cutter. We all know this is like the most goated supportive weapon in the game for supports. Gives them a nice little link with an attack boost to the entire team. But yeah, those are her 2 like builds. Then we've got Lifeng. Lifeng's using his signature standard weapon. It actually just makes him deal damage. But if I'm being honest with you, brother doesn't have to do damage. He really doesn't. He just needs to apply his vulnerability stacks and physical susceptibility. For his set, you can apply the Eternal Zyronite. Because bro's applying physical susceptibility, he's going to give the whole team a 16% damage bonus. Those 3 are pretty much like the core units. And then you've got my goat Pog. He can wear the exact same set as Akekuri, where his combo skill gets reduced and he gives SP and gives a damage bonus to the entire team. He's rocking 3 Frontier set pieces, with 1 off piece being all skill damage dealt, but you can also just do ultimate energy regen. And then he's rocking his signature damage dealing weapon, but he can also rock the Thermite Cutter. Most people do just put that on him. Finally, we got my goats back here, the free to play goats. You got my goat Alesh. Brother man is rocking the same thing, right? He's got that supportive set. He recovers SP, gives damage dealing to everyone. It's the Frontier set. He actually is rocking his Fin Chaser, which is his damage dealing weapon. You can also put a Thermite Cutter on him too, though, just so you know. And then finally, we've got Estella at the back end. She's rocking, who cares what she's rocking? I'll be honest with you, bro. All you guys need for her is the Eternal Zyronite set. You shouldn't even have to build her, to be honest. You don't even have to build her. Stack a bunch of ultimate gain efficiency on her and Ales, and you're good to go. That's pretty much everybody. And that's going to wrap it up, boys and girls. Sorry if I yapped your ears off a bit much during the showcase. Like I said, I pride myself in trying to explain the way things work. Maybe I yap a little bit too much, but hopefully this was some insightful information. I hope you found this guide valuable. Overall, I think Mifu's a fantastic DPS that has only elevated the entirety of the physical DPS realm. I don't think she's actually a must pull, but I do think she's incredibly strong. And if you love your physical DPS teams, then she is a must pull. I actually look forward to testing her out with the vampire guy that's coming right after her, because I think he can actually replace Akekuri. But we're going to have to wait and be patient for that to come around, and we'll see if that actually remains to be true. Thanks for watching. Peace, love, and happiness. I'll catch you guys on the flip side.